Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really big idea, an ambitious blueprint for collective action. It's a concept that's not about changing what we do to solve problems, but about fundamentally changing how we do it, together.
So let's just jump right in with a question that I think, is on a lot of our minds. We see all these brilliant people, amazing organizations, and just huge amounts of money and goodwill all pointed at solving global problems. And yet the problems seem to be getting worse. What's the deal? What are we missing here?
Well, the source material we're digging into today offers a pretty provocative answer. It argues the problem isn't a moral failure. It's not that we don't care enough or have bad intentions. The problem, it says, is an infrastructure failure. We literally don't have the systems in place to coordinate all of our good intentions effectively.
And that brings us to the core of the diagnosis, this idea of an infrastructure of fragmentation. It's a really powerful way to think about it. Our efforts are like countless, brilliant, isolated sparks. They have all this potential to start a huge fire of change, but because they can't connect, that collective power just fizzles out.
And this is what that fragmentation actually looks like in the real world. I mean, think about it. Across pretty much every field, whether it's climate action or public health, you see the exact same pattern. You have all these amazing, well-meaning groups working away in their own separate silos. And because of that, learning doesn't spread, funding gets misaligned, and our ability to coordinate just crumbles right when the pressure is on.
So, what if we could actually build the infrastructure for collaboration? What if we could design a system specifically to break down those silos and overcome that fragmentation? Well, that is the big idea behind what our sources are calling the synergy engine.
So here it is, the synergy engine. And it's really important to get this. This isn't just another app or some new platform. The source calls it a meta-operating environment. A good way to think about it is like an alignment layer, an intelligence layer that sits over everything else, designed specifically to connect the dots and weave all those separate efforts into something that's actually coherent.
This table really nails the fundamental shift this whole thing is designed to create. Let's just look at it. We're talking about a move from isolated excellence, one group doing a great job on their own, to collective effectiveness, where everyone's impact is multiplied. It's about getting out of this constant reactive mode and instead anticipating and adapting. And, maybe most importantly, it's a shift from competing for resources to actually stewarding them together.
Okay, so how would this engine actually work? Let's get into its core components. The sources use this incredible metaphor, describing it as the circulatory and nervous system for a whole new way of organizing ourselves. First up, you have relational mapping. The logic here is super simple, right? You can't collaborate if you don't even know who to collaborate with. So this part of the engine is all about making the entire ecosystem visible, showing who's doing what, where, so everyone can see how their work fits into the bigger picture and spot those hidden opportunities for synergy.
Next, there's something called transformational logistics, and this is the engine's circulatory system. But here's the key difference. Unlike regular logistics that are all about speed or cost, this system is designed to optimize for regenerative impact. It's about getting the right knowledge, the right funding, the right people to the right place at the right time, all to make the entire system healthier.
Now, this part is absolutely crucial. A tokenized alignment system acts like the network's nervous system. And I really want to be clear here because the source stresses this. We are not talking about financial tokens or speculative crypto. Think of these as multidimensional signals that represent things our current system ignores, like trust or ecological benefit or long-term value. They're designed to guide everyone's behavior, aligning their incentives with the health of the entire planet.
And what's so cool is how these pieces all click together. It's not one thing, then the next. The mapping shows you the opportunities, the logistics system helps you act on them, and that token system reinforces and rewards the right kinds of actions. It creates this amazing self-reinforcing virtuous cycle of learning and getting things done.
Okay, I know this all sounds a little abstract. So, what would this actually look like in a real-world crisis? To make it more concrete, the sources use the example of a California wildfire. So first, let's just look at the current reality. Let's look at the fragmented, chaotic way we usually respond to a disaster like a wildfire. As you can see here, the failures are sadly predictable. Before the fire even starts, all the knowledge about risk and land management is locked away in different silos. Then, during the crisis, command structures are a mess and communication breaks down. And after the fire is out, the rebuilding is totally piecemeal, and we end up just rebuilding the same old vulnerabilities. The most critical lessons are lost, and the whole tragic cycle is just reset to happen all over again.
Okay, now let's imagine that exact same crisis. But this time, the synergy engine is running in the background, providing that infrastructure for a coherent, organized response.
In this scenario, the whole story changes. Before the fire, prevention is proactive. You're integrating modern climate models with ancient indigenous wisdom. During the fire, everybody has shared awareness and can coordinate in real time. And the recovery, it's not just about rebuilding, it's about regenerative rebuilding, making the whole community stronger and more resilient than before. You can see how the learning actually compounds, finally breaking that cycle of disaster.
So the real takeaway here, the crucial point, is that this vision goes way beyond just responding to disasters better. It's about building a fundamentally new capacity for our entire civilization.
The ultimate goal is to enable something the source material beautifully calls a human murmuration. If you've ever seen a flock of starlings move in the sky, that's a murmuration. It's this breathtakingly coherent, intelligent movement, but with no central leader telling them what to do. The vision here is for humanity to be able to act with that same kind of elegant collective wisdom.
And you know, what this really represents is a deep shift in our collective consciousness. It's a move away from constantly being in crisis management mode, to instead consciously stewarding the living systems we're all a part of. The sources frame it as a necessary step in our maturation as a species, kind of like we're moving from a chaotic adolescence into a regenerative adulthood.
And that leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. Maybe our greatest test right now isn't about inventing more solutions. We have plenty of those. Maybe the real test is simply learning how to act together. The challenge is building the capacity to weave all of our brilliant, separate ideas into a coherent, powerful whole. And the question for all of us is, what's it going to take to build a world that can finally do that?